Welcome to the Becks, a podcast that explores multimedia horror with hosts Becky and Sydney. Join us as we talk about movies, books, video games, music, and much, much more.
Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Sydney Rebecca.
And I'm Rebecca Snow.
And we're the Becks. And today we're going to talk about the premature burial.
Yes. This one came about because 2 episodes ago, when we were talking about the haunting of Ashburn House, Sydney had asked me if I was afraid of being buried alive. Then I was looking up stuff that happened on a certain day in the horror genre. Mm-hmm. And this popped up, and I thought, well, that's kind of fitting. It's a 1962 film, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's old.
March 7th.
March 7th. Wow. So in the same month.
Yeah.
Cool.
What a weird coincidence.
Yeah.
This is based on a short story by Edgar Allan Poe. And it was part of something they kind of informally called the Poe cycle, because it was a third in a series of 8 Edgar Allan Poe themed movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Fascinating. So this movie is about a man who has preeclampsia. No.
Preeclampsia is when you're pregnant. It's Oh my god. We're so serious, too.
I'm packing it in.
You had it, man. You were like,
I was so sure.
this man that has preeclampsia.
I've never heard of this before, okay?
I hadn't either, to be fair. But I have heard of preeclampsia. Oh, goodness.
Okay, hang on. What is it called? Cataleptic? He suffers from a cataleptic disease, allegedly.
He thinks he does because his father did.
Allegedly, also.
Yes.
Which means you have like a fit, and it seems to all intents and purposes that you're dead as hell.
Yeah,
you're
you
not.
just pass out, you can't move, you can't talk.
Apparently there's no heartbeat, you're barely breathing.
Yeah, so there's an undetectable heartbeat. He's terrified of being buried alive because he is convinced.
Yeah, everyone in his family has died unexpectedly.
Yeah, but his father suffered the worst.
Yeah.
So it starts out with this grave being dug up and
they're whistling this tune.
Yes.
Which seems kind of inappropriate.
I know, right? But maybe they're just...
I mean, to be fair, they literally were grave robbing.
Yeah, so for them it was probably something
They were... The main character, Guy, and his soon-to-be father-in-law were in medicine. And if you know, you know, back in the day to get bodies, they didn't have people donating them. They would have to steal them so that they could study them.
Yeah.
So that it was actually very common for medical students to steal bodies. In fact, professors encouraged it, kind of.
Yeah, so I'm assuming the film was filmed in 1962, but what did they...
It says it's in the Victorian era.
Okay. So, yeah, so they had no bells and whistles. They had nothing to detect. That's why they came up with bells in caskets to say, hey, I'm freaking alive, save my ass, get me out of here.
That... Genuinely, thinking about it, I get why Guy was freaked out.
Yeah, for sure.
By it.
I think that would scare me too. I just can't imagine.
Because at least, I mean, you know that it wouldn't happen these days. I mean,
for sure.
I'm sure it does sometimes, unfortunately, but I mean at a much lower rate than back in the day. So yeah, he tells Emily
that he wants nothing to do with her.
Yeah.
So she shows up at his house angry and forceful and going to find out why he doesn't want to be with her.
And his sister's a real bitch to Emily.
Yeah, she doesn't like Emily.
Her name's Kate.
And she told Emily he doesn't want to see you. You need to go away. And she said, I need to hear that from his mouth. So she brings her in the house and Kate goes in the other room to get Guy. And she comes back out and says, he doesn't want to see you. And
Emily's like, too damn bad.
I told you I need to hear that from his mouth. So she goes storming in the room and she asks him and she's like, did you never love me? And he professes his love and Then he tells her the story.
Yeah, takes her down to the family crypt and everything.
Yeah.
There's lots of crypts in recent movies that we've watched.
Yes, there is. It's a theme.
So, I don't know if you caught a glimpse of the painting that he was working on when Emily showed up in the room, but it was pretty disturbing.
It was really disturbing.
Cool as fuck, though.
Yeah. I noticed that, and I actually stopped the movie because I think one of the kids came home or Roger got up or something, and I stopped it and rewound it because I missed some parts and saw it again. And I thought, oh, that's a little disturbing.
Later on, he paints a really disturbing picture, but it's kind of tame in comparison, honestly. I mean, it's fucked up, for sure. But it's not outside of the realm of something that I could imagine him painting, I guess, because of that initial painting.
Yeah.
Of course, he was in the throes of his mentee bee, but whatever. Yeah, he tells her about the family history and how his father was buried alive. Kate follows them down to the crypt, though, and was like, no, he wasn't buried alive. I literally broke into the crypt after he died and checked myself. And he's like, no, I heard him screaming, yelling for help.
And no one can convince him otherwise.
Yeah.
So he literally doesn't sleep. He has to take medicine to sleep.
Laudanum.
Yeah. Emily decides she's going to save him. She loves him. She'll stay with him. And he said, are you sure after everything? And meanwhile, Kate is standing in the background just, raising one eyebrow as little sisters sometimes do. No one's ever good enough for our brothers.
This is true.
Well, my brothers, yeah, but they were different. Anyway, so they decide to get married. They get married. They're having a big reception. Her dad's there. He's a creepy old man.
He's funny as fuck, though.
He is funny.
She asked him if he was enjoying himself, and he said, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he's basically like, this is just the in-betweens of...
Yeah, he said he never enjoys himself. It's always kind of like from one mediocre to the next or something like that.
Yeah, it was funny as hell. It was something I could picture James saying to somebody.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Me too.
So she starts playing the piano, and she plays this song.
Molly Malone, I believe is what it was called, correct?
Molly Malone, yep, that's exactly right. And that's the same tune that the grave robbers were whistling at the beginning of the movie, and it makes Guy freak out. Like, he totally has a breakdown and has to go upstairs and go to bed.
He goes to bed. It's weird.
Yeah. It's so awkward, too. Could you imagine you're a guest at this wedding, and then
his wedding. It's his wedding.
Yeah, his wedding. And
he disappears.
He freaks out.
Yeah.
Emily's left to host everyone.
Yeah.
It's not even her. Well, I mean, it's her house.
And he yells at everybody. He's like, get away from me. Leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
Very dramatic. And he goes upstairs and throws himself on the bed and is just out.
Yeah.
Weirdly out.
I really thought that was when he was gonna be dead.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's time for him to have the cataplexy.
But no, he awakened. She came up and awakened him.
Yeah, because she wanted to consummate the marriage, if you know what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's kind of racy. This movie was kind of racy at times. I was surprised. It is rated R, to be fair.
Is it? I didn't even look at the rating.
But I was a little bit scandalized.
Were you?
Yeah. Nosferatu doesn't have anything on this movie.
Right, yeah.
But it did seem racy for a 60s movie.
Oh, yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
Even more racier than it was supposed to be in the Victorian era.
Yeah.
But I guess.
Emily's kind of a...
Oh, she's not a nice girl.
She's kind of a hussy.
She plays that she's a nice girl.
Yeah. Honestly, when they were initially down in the crypt and she was like, I'll take care of you now, I kind of rolled my eyes. Because, I mean, we don't know a lot about the character yet at this point, but I'm just like, girl, you have no idea what you're getting into. Like, that man is mentally ill. I can smell it.
And he told her, though, that he'd been ill. He said, I am ill. And Kate was like, he is ill. They told her. She didn't care. But we find out later why she didn't care. So she has this young man at their wedding that works with her father.
Oh, yeah. And he obviously holds a flame for her still. Because it was that little moment at the piano where I was like, oh.
Yeah.
He just said something like, "Oh, Emily, my dear Emily."
So they're friends, and because he's in the medical field, she talks to him a lot about Guy's situation. So after they're married...
Can we talk about what a stupid fucking name Guy is, by the way?
Yes. As soon as they said it, I wanted to punch someone in the throat.
So, I know that...
Sorry to anybody named Guy.
Well, you should change your name.
I worked with a lady who she called everybody Guy. And then we had someone come into the credit union, and his name was really Guy. And she was talking about him, and I was so confused because she talked about every man and called them Guy. And then a real man named Guy came in, and I was lost. It was horrible.
I just don't know. I wonder what is the origin of this name.
I don't know.
Because obviously it's turned into kind of a colloquialism to just have to do with a man. But even then it's kind of gender neutral because we have patients come in group or whatever and I'll be like, hey guys. You know?
Exactly, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm going to overthink every time I say it now because of this stupid movie.
The name Guy has Germanic roots originating from Old French and meaning wood or forest. It is a short form of compound names based on the element widow.
Why are we laughing?
Because we're 12. Because it's totally organic.
Okay, we need to pause here. And we got this message from this man through the Becks, I should say.
Yes, the Becks Messenger through Facebook.
Yeah, which is the first message we've ever gotten, which is kind of depressing. But it is what it is. And I can't do it, dude. Okay, so he said, hello, ma'am. Do you have any Apple Podcast and Spotify show? That's verbatim, by the way. I said, we are not on Apple yet, but we are on Spotify. Here's the link. He said, I analyzed your show. It's a great show. Like Donald Trump. I analyzed your show. It's a great show. I checked out your Spotify podcast and saw that you have several episodes. But I also see that your audience and ratings are not high.
What a jerk.
Sad. Very sad.
True, but what a jerk.
True, but sad. Will help your Spotify podcast reach more listeners and download Steam followers rating. Let me help you take your Spotify podcast to the top level. I said, well, that would be so great. We broke, though. He reiterated, I have listened to your show, and I think it is a great show. I said, thank you so much. He said, I will give your Spotify show per day 1,000 plus streams, 200 plus download, 30 plus rating, 100 plus follower, 100% active listener. I said, is that like using bots? And he said, my service is 100% organic. Dude, I died when that message popped up. Becky was in the bathroom. I'm crying. Because she came back out and we were both giggling about it because she got it on her watch.
Yeah.
And I was just like, picture this. We're 300 years in the future. Someone's prostituting us, but insisting that they are 100% organic. There's no robot parts anywhere. You can't make this up. Why do we get weird messages before we record? Because this happened with Nosferatu too, when you were getting all those shirtless men asking to plow your driveway. I can't do it.
It makes for good entertainment, I guess.
This is true. This is true.
No, 100% organic.
Yeah. Should we, listeners, should we take him up on this? Maybe we should.
Maybe we'll post a poll. Should we take the strange man's 100% organic services?
His name is Shoan Khan. It's pretty obvious to me that he's running this through like a translation service because the English is
so broken.
Well, it's like, it makes sense, sorta. It's in a way that it needs to be a different word.
Yes, for sure.
Like top level? That doesn't make sense.
No.
It does, but it doesn't.
Yes.
It's not giving fluent. Which is fine.
He's going to make us famous, people.
But he is going to make us famous, so.
We'll remember where we came from.
We're going to be on the top level soon.
Yeah. Would you like to come along with us?
Organically. Okay.
Back to the premature burial.
Yeah, so he wakes up from his little nap, his little depressant episode, And he becomes obsessed with these morbid fantasies of his that he is going to be buried alive.
Yeah.
And so he builds this.
Yeah, she finds him standing outside just staring. And she said, "What is happening? What is wrong?" And he said, "I'm planning." And then the next thing you know, she's calling, what is his name?
Miles.
She calls Miles to come over. It's bad. And Miles comes over and he's built this giant mausoleum on their property.
Guy was supposed to take Emily to Venice for their honeymoon.
But he was
if
busy.
If I was her, I would have been pissed.
Right?
She doesn't act pissed, which is weird. I mean, she's very concerned about him, which that's so sweet. But I would get to this point where I'd be like, okay, you're going to knock your shit off. You're going to take some laudanum. We're going to take a boat to Venice. Okay? You're going to take a lot of laudanum. And we're going to go to Venice. And I'm going to get my tan going. And then we're going to come back and you can be your little emo boy.
Wow. There you go.
But I want to go to Venice first, bitch.
Well, he did promise her.
Yeah. And he broke it.
Promises are not made to be broken. I used to know someone that said that, and if you're listening to this, you're wrong. It was a man.
Oh.
In case you couldn't tell.
Well.
He used to say that all the time. Promises are made to be broken. Don't promise me.
That's such a man thing to say.
Right?
That's such a guy thing to
Loser.
say.
No, he really wasn't.
It's such a wood thing to say. Anyway.
We're just going to do that word talking.
This is really an unhinged episode so far.
This is. So I hope you're having fun. It's been a really long week at our work. And maybe we're just blowing off steam. Could be. So, he's building the mausoleum. He has built the mausoleum.
And he invites them in.
He's so excited.
He's showing off all of his little...
It has a regular door, then it has a metal door, and then it has all these safety features. It has a casket in the middle of it.
Yeah, it's meant to be locked.
Yes.
Because of grave robbers, ironically.
Yes. So he climbs in the casket, and this is the first safety feature. All he has to do is wiggle a finger, and the casket will fly open. It opens to the side, and the top comes off, and he's out safe.
Yeah.
But in case that doesn't work, there's a whole bunch of tools inside.
Yeah.
And in case that doesn't work, there was something else with the casket.
A bell.
Yeah. Well, the bell was in the actual building.
Yeah, but it was above the casket.
Yes. So once he gets out of the casket, he can't get out of the room because it's locked from the outside. Why you wouldn't just have a key that you could unlock it from the inside. But okay. Maybe that wasn't a thing then. I don't know. So he rings the bell, and then you continue to ring it. But if that fails, then there was a lever to open the door.
Yep.
And if that fails, there was a ladder that came down from the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And if that failed, there was an actual hidden door by the front door.
Yeah.
That was made to...
You could crawl through it.
And there was one more at the window.
Yeah. And then there was also a fucking box of dynamite.
Oh, yes. The box of dynamite. And then...
Poison.
The final failsafe was poison. If you couldn't get out, you could...
And drink the poison.
Yeah. And of course, Miles and Emily think he has absolutely lost his mind. Insane. I would have been like, good for you. If that's what makes you feel good, okay.
Yeah.
Now let's go to Venice. You're done.
Yeah.
If you die, I'll bring you back here and put you in here.
Yeah, because he was really scared of the crypt. And Emily actually promised him that he would never be buried there.
Yes.
Because it just terrified him so much. He was so convinced that his father died in agony, which he didn't.
No. But he thinks he did.
I think, honestly, they never say it, obviously, because I don't think this was an official thing for a long time, but I think Guy probably had some form of schizophrenia.
Yes, it seemed like it may have been, yes.
Because, you have the auditory hallucinations with hearing his dad in the crypt. And at first, he goes out to, I think, check on the crypt at one point, and he hears whistling. And it's the song again that the grave robbers sang.
Yes.
Or whistled. And he runs and he searches for them, and he never finds them.
But he believes he sees them. He
Yeah.
turns around, and he sees one, and then he turns around and he sees the other, and he passes out.
Yeah. And when he wakes up, it's to Miles and Emily being like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
What the fuck happened?
And he's even convinced, he tells Miles, Emily saw them too.
And Emily's like,
For
no.
most of the time, it was just the auditory hallucinations. But at that point, we think it was
I thought he was crazy.
hallucinations. Yeah,
I did.
me too.
I thought that he was really losing it, and it was sad.
It was very sad because he was terrified. He was scared, and nobody understood him. They were trying to help him, but they were basically just saying, get over it. It's not real.
Yeah.
You're sick. You're, almost like today is mental health in the U.S.
Like, just go out in the sun.
Yeah, you need vitamin D.
Have you tried exercising?
Yeah. Some serotonin would do you well. Oh, you're stressed? Get over it. Everybody's stressed. That's just part of life.
Someone has it worse than you. You can all tell worse.
Back when I was a kid, nobody had. You just dealt with it. Well, that's why us adults my age are fucked up. And yes, that using the F word, but it's very true.
Scandalocious.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, yeah, he was ill. He was having a lot of scary things happening, and no one was helping him. They were just trying to make him forget those thoughts. I thought that was really funny when they told him that. You just have to forget those thoughts.
Yeah.
How do you just forget something?
More laudanum,
phobia
baby.
like that, especially.
More laudanum.
Yeah.
You just needed all the laudanum. Finally, Miles and Emily hatch a plan. He's like, you have to give him an ultimatum.
Yes, and I do believe that Miles was trying to help him.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
He obviously cared a lot for Emily, and he cared for Guy too, I think.
Yes,
because
I
they had
believe
worked
so.
together. I don't know what Guy did. Maybe he just funded them?
It could be. They were doing experiments. They had a frog, and he was showing Guy how they were experimenting
With electricity.
With electricity, and immediately I was thinking Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And they were hooking the electrodes, touching the frog that had died, the frog's legs, with the electrodes and watching them jump.
Yeah.
And so they were talking about that and what they were doing with that research and
How it could be applied to humans.
to the brain.
To the brain, yeah, specifically.
And Guy said, well, I'll tell you what, if you could show me that it works, I would definitely do it.
Yeah.
Because he was desperate. He didn't like feeling that way.
Mm-mm.
As anybody with any kind of phobia or mental illness, we don't like feeling that way. My anxiety makes me insane. I don't want to be this way, but there it is. They finally convince him.
And he blows up the mausoleum.
Blows up the mausoleum. But was it before that? Yes, it was before that when he was laying on the ground, when he thought he saw the men, the grave diggers. He had that very vivid dream about being in the mausoleum.
Yeah.
And everything failed. Everything.
Yeah.
So he ended up drinking.
Yeah, but it was worms. It was all gone.
It was worms. He was
So he
trying.
couldn't even...
Yeah, so he was, again, basically buried alive. He was stuck. And that is something that Emily lectured him on, is that he had to get over it because he was already buried alive by living this life and being terrified and spending all of his time in the mausoleum. And he could either have her or he could have that place, but he couldn't have both.
Yeah.
And that's why he blew it up.
Which, at first I was like, yeah, girl.
Yeah. Girl power. Tell him like it is.
Yeah. They have like a party. It's like a going away party before they leave for Venice. And they hear this meowing.
Yeah.
And Emily and Miles discover the cat had gotten stuck in the wall. And
Animals in this movie. I forgot about the dog, too.
yeah, earlier in the movie, he and his sister had found, Guy and Kate had found their dog dead.
From the lightning, they assumed it was a bad lightning
Yeah,
storm.
because there was a storm.
Guy said he was going to bury him, and she said, as you wish. And they headed back to the house to get out of the weather, and we're going to come back and bury the dog.
Later, yeah.
And then the dog got up and whimpered, and they turned around,
And Guy was like, I would have buried him!
I was going to bury him. I was going to bury him.
Which it is fucked up that every situation here is just exacerbating his fear.
His fear, yes.
Because the cat in the wall, too, he was like, my God, what if we had never heard her?
Yes, and he was very upset.
And Miles was like, you still haven't let go of these fears. He said, the root of this is you thinking that your father was buried alive. And I think we need to fucking prove it once and for all.
You need to go down and open the crypt and show me.
And prior to this scene, we had seen someone.
I thought it was Kate.
I did too. It's very obvious Very good cinematography, making Kate to be the suspicious character this whole time.
Yeah.
Because it makes the reveal that much juicier at the end.
For sure.
There. But someone goes down in the crypt and finds the crypt open. You have to unlock the area where the crypt keys are, and each crypt has a key. And they grabbed a key to the father's grave and opened it and slipped inside. And the butler came down to investigate because he obviously heard a sound or whatever, and he locked the crypt key holder thing and left because it didn't seem like there was anyone around. So then you have this whole troop of people heading down to the crypt. Emily's dresses in this movie kept cracking me up because they're so fucking impractical.
Right?
They're so...
With the big hoops?
Yeah, the big hoops, and she just takes up so much room on the staircase.
I was thinking that watching the movie because her and Kate, when they walked in the door at that one point, and they both had the big hoop skirts at that moment.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, I wonder what it was like to wear that.
You had to go single file, man.
Right? There was no way. And you had to go sideways to get out the doors or through the doors. Your dress was too
so ridiculous.
Huge.
I mean, listen, it was beautiful, very cute.
Sure.
But, God, they must have been a nightmare to navigate in. So, he can't find the crypt key. Miles is like, did you hide the crypt key?
Yeah.
And Guy's like, no, I don't remember doing it. Can something like that happen to where I can't remember it? And Miles is like, I feel like anything's possible at this point, man. Guy is like, no, it's fine. We'll just break it open. So we grab...
Yeah, Miles told him he had to break it open. You have to break it open.
Yeah. And he's like, fine. And he grabs...
Like a crowbar or something.
Yeah.
Something. I don't know if they had crowbars. I don't know.
Back in the
18th. Did they? I mean, they had.
They must have, because they did, like, mining and stuff, right?
Yeah. So he grabbed a metal bar and started prying at this stone wall.
The crypt door, yeah. And it pops open, and his father's skeleton
Falls right on him.
Yep, and he dies. But not really.
Dies from a heart attack.
He has the cataclysm, or whatever the fuck it's called. Yeah. Cataplexy.
So they take him upstairs, they put him on the couch, and his father-in-law is got a stethoscope, and he's like, he's dead.
He's dead for sure.
And Emily is, oh, but I love him. Oh, but he can't be dead. And Miles is like, there's one more test we need to do. And the father-in-law is like, no, he's dead. He's like, no, I have to try. So he goes in and gets the electrodes and straps it on his hand. Meanwhile, this whole time, you can hear Guy's voice saying, no, I'm alive. I'm alive. Why can't you hear me? Why can't I open my eyes? Why can't I move? I'm alive.
Which, I do think it's strange that when this happened, no one, not a single character brought up the fact that he was scared of the seeming like he was dead, but wasn't actually dead.
Exactly.
So I thought that was kind of strange. I guess everyone was just distracted by their fear and adrenaline and their...
And they said that he was dead, and they thought it was all just in his head. He was crazy.
I'm still not sure what Miles was trying to do with the electrode thing.
I don't know if he thought it would, like, jolt the brain to wake up and do what it needed to do or whatever.
Well, then he should have fucking put it on his head, not his hand.
Right? But it didn't work.
Or his dick. That would wake a man up, I feel.
I'm sure that would wake a man up. Holy moly. So anyway, the dad said, we'll take him back downstairs. And Emily said, no, I promised him I would never bury him in the crypt. Which, to me... Okay, so what are they going to do? So they put him in a casket with a glass window so they can see his face.
Yeah, it's called narrative licensing, Becky. They had to do it for the camera to
I understand.
fit in the coffin.
So they put the glass window and they but nobody's looking in the glass window. Nobody looks at him.
Yeah, and his eyes are open and moving at this point.
Yes, he's moving his eyes thinking they're going to see him, but nobody looks at him. Mm-mm. And they carry him to the cemetery where Okay, so... His fear is to be buried alive. Mm-hmm. Doesn't want to be in the crypt. So you bury him in the ground under a bunch of dirt? I thought to myself, why not just put him in a mausoleum? Something, an above ground grave. But we find out later.
He bombed it.
He did bomb it, but she could have done something for him to not put him in the ground. So they put him in the ground.
Yeah.
And they bury him.
Mm-hmm. But his father-in-law, because he's a dirty, greedy old man, hires the same grave robbers as before to rob the grave so he can use his fucking son-in-law's corpse to further his science research.
Yes.
Which is so scummy. It's so bad. It's so horrible. Kind of funny in a way, because this ultimately saves him.
Yes, I do believe it. I know their whole setup for them was awful. How could you do that to a human? But anyway, so he hears them digging him up, and he prepares himself. He's angry. Now he's really angry.
Yeah, because they buried him alive. He feels betrayed by everyone.
Yeah.
Which I get to a degree. But at the same time, they couldn't tell, man. There was nothing they could do.
I don't know. If it had been my person, I would not have put them in the ground or buried them in any way. I would have found some way for them to be in a different kind of setting.
Isn't that where wakes originated? To make sure that someone was actually dead, you would observe the body for like 3 days or something and make sure that it was doing what bodies do and not what alive humans do?
Yeah.
So they skip that, apparently.
Yeah. They open it up and he attacks them and kills the grave robbers.
Yeah. Kills both of them.
Yeah. And then...
Meanwhile, back at the house, Emily is so distraught. She's so upset. So she calls for Miles, and she tries to seduce him.
She's in her husband's bedroom in Guy's house.
Yeah.
The night he died, I'm assuming the night he died.
She's got this nightgown on.
In bed.
Yeah.
And she's come closer.
Which I really, really respect Miles.
Yes.
He's a great character because she's like, do you remember how close we used to be? And he said, yes, I remember being a poor medical student and you wanting to be a grand lady.
Yes.
And that's exactly what she got.
Exactly.
And now that she has Guy's money, she wants to hook back up with Miles, essentially, because she tries to seduce him.
She tries hard. And meanwhile, while this is going on over at her father's house, he's waiting for the grave robbers to bring the body to him. And
Guy disguises himself as one of the grave robbers and carries one of the grave robbers' bodies in.
Yes, and the father-in-law says, oh, yeah, put it right there, blah, 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 And then he turns around and sees Guy.
And he's very shocked by this.
100% shocked by this.
But Guy is not in a forgiving mood.
Oh, no, he's very mad.
So he straps him up to his little electrode device and electrocutes him till he's dead. And then he keeps hunting.
Back to Guy's house, where his wife is trying to seduce Miles.
Yeah.
Guy is standing outside the window listening to it all.
And this is when the butler comes and tells Miles that there's something that he should see. It has to do with their laboratory being kind of shifty. He's freaked out. The butler's freaked out. And Miles is like, can't the father-in-law, can't he take care of it? And the butler's like, no, he would want you to come and see this too.
Right away.
Kind of funny. Because he goes down to the laboratory and the father-in-law's
dead.
KFC'd. And grave robber's body is there. And then Miles is like, oh shit. He obviously doesn't know what's going on, but he immediately is concerned for Emily.
Yes.
I don't know if he knows that it's Guy at this point, or if it's just...
I couldn't really tell if he knew that.
It could have been the other grave robber, to be fair,
for sure.
because there was only one there. The other one was left at the grave. So he runs back up and Emily's gone at this point. Guy abducts her, and he...
takes her to the graveyard. Guy does.
Well, this was when he was at his most crazy, but also at his hottest, in my opinion. Because he was like, you treacherous worm.
Yeah, he was not thrilled with her.
Yeah, he's like, I wasn't even cold in my grave, and you were trying to jump some other dude's bones.
So he throws her in the grave.
Yeah,
and buries her alive.
Yeah.
She's not in a box either. And just dirt.
No, yeah, and he's like, you planned this all along, and I'm like, oh.
Yep.
It's all coming together.
So Emily had found out, well, we didn't know this yet. So Miles shows up at the grave.
And he's trying to get to Emily. He and Guy fight. Guy almost kills him with a shovel.
And Guy tells him, I don't want to hurt you. I have no issues with you.
Yeah.
You have nothing to do with this. You were always good and helpful.
Yeah.
And Guy's still attacking him, and they're fighting, and all of a sudden... Go ahead.
Well, just because, Miles wanted to save Emily because he doesn't know what the fuck is going on.
No, he was doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you hear a gunshot and Guy falls to the ground.
And is dead. And Kate shot him.
And Kate, his sister, shot him.
Which is horrible! Ah!
Yeah. So
it's it's so upsetting.
She didn't want her brother to kill anybody else.
Right.
And she comes and she explains to Miles.
Because Miles immediately, once he's free, digs Emily up and, she's dead.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be like, are you sure? Are you sure she's dead? But no, she was dead. She was suffocated.
She was suffocated by the weight of the dirt, so.
Yeah.
And
fucked up.
Kate tells him.
Yeah, because she's like, stop being a fool.
Yeah.
It was her all along. She made my brother go crazy.
Once you told her how easy it would be for him to cross that line.
To die from his fear.
You set that plan in motion. She set that plan in motion.
Yeah, she hired the grave robbers.
Her and her dad. Yep.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, that's how the movie ends.
Everybody dies but Kate and Miles. And the cat. And the dog.
Cat and dog are fine. The butler's fine, too.
The butler's fine, too. It was an old movie.
I really liked it.
It was cheesy, but I enjoyed it. I thought, they did a good job with it. I wasn't expecting that twist. I really didn't expect that twist, that they would dig him up.
I didn't.
I was mad that they were burying him. Because I thought, no.
Yeah, I was like, how is this movie gonna end? Because to me, I was like, okay, they're burying him. And then it was just weird because all of a sudden Emily was trying to seduce Miles. And I'm like, girl, you need therapy.
Because let me make this very clear. She 100% throughout the entire movie acted like she was head over heels in love with Guy.
Yeah.
It was all about Guy, all about
helping him,
forgiving him for not taking her to Venice, just pushing for him to get well.
Yeah.
At least that was what we saw.
Yeah. But at the same time, in retrospect, you're like, oh, there was someone behind the scenes doing fucky shit. Like, she literally desecrated his father's grave to make the skeleton fall on him.
Yeah.
Which is sick in the head.
100%. He was not the only mentally ill person in the room.
No, clearly not. I want to point out, too, I was confused by how old these actors looked. Because it seemed... I
thought so, too.
I mean, I don't mean that in a mean way. Like, Emily, she could be, late 20s, early 30s, whatever. But Guy was, really old, and Kate was old as fuck, too.
Yeah, and they were talking about having babies and stuff.
I'm like, are you sure does it even still work? Laudanum doesn't help with that.
Very organic.
Yeah, But I was just like, you better get on with it. You ain't getting any younger.
They kissed quite heavily, though.
Yeah,
that first kiss was I'm like, holy moly, look what's going on there.
Pornographic.
Right?
So, yeah, great movie. Good twist. Edgar Allan Poe, obviously, is an excellent writer, and he's good at doing the...
He throws a lot of mental illness in.
Well, he himself was, people think, very mentally ill.
Yeah, I'm sure. But he does throw a lot of mental illness in his stories.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's a horror genre, so you can't be sane to do the things that we talk about, right?
Nothing's more horrifying than the capabilities of, how horrible humans can be.
Very true.
We create our own horrors.
Yes, we are very good at that.
I think this is partly why shark movies don't bother me. Because in real life, when shark attacks happen, it's not because they're being malicious or anything. It's
their nature.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
What they're meant to do.
So it's not nasty. It's not like, oh, we're vengeful or anything like that.
No.
Whereas humans will literally go out of their way to hurt each other and kill each other and torture each other and, all that stuff. So it's like, I don't want to say creature features because that's not quite right. But anything with an animal in it usually doesn't scare me.
Okay. There are some animals out there that are manipulative, though, and do know how to.
Okay, I will put an asterisk on that because there is this movie from the early 2000s called Komodo, and it's about Komodo dragons. That movie scared the shit out of me. Komodo dragons are scary. Do you know they can swim?
I did not know that, and thank you for giving me that nightmare, because
You're
they
welcome.
already have scared me.
Yep, they can swim too.
Cool. So there's no getting away. They
Yeah.
just follow you wherever you go.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they can climb trees too, so.
Don't tell me that. Man, do you know...
Just don't go to
existential
the...
crisis. I'm going to have to straighten some
When
cans.
are you gonna...
Canned goods need to be straightened now.
When are you gonna go to the Galapagos?
I have looked at many trips on the travel zoo thing.
Consider not going to the
Apparently
Galapagos.
not. Oh, it looks so beautiful, though.
But there are Komodo dragons
I know.
there.
I know.
And they can swim and climb trees.
Yes.
So
Well,
there's
no,
literally nowhere safe from
I will
them.
not be going to the Galapagos to see the beauty, because I'm terrified of those giant monsters.
Just look at the nice pictures.
Yes, of the other people that go there and run from the Komodo dragons.
I think they can run really fast too.
Oh, they can. I've seen that on, like, movies or something.
Dude, they're freaky.
Yeah, fun times.
There's no Komodo dragons in this movie.
We are all over the place in this episode.
Yeah, I don't know
tonight.
what's happening. I think we're literally slap happy. I don't know what happened. Did you dose our food?
Yeah.
It's the Velveeta cheese.
Don't tell James.
Hey, I can do whatever I want outside of his house. He doesn't need to know about my Velveeta cheese habit. God, what is even happening?
So that is the premature burial.
Yep.
We don't know what we're talking about next week, but we'll figure something out. Still waiting on listener stories. Are you out there? Will you share? I need some listener stories.
Yeah, give it to us nice and organic.
We may need a chaperone now and then.
Oh, God.
Anyway.
Today the pod, tomorrow the world. My name is Sydney Rebecca.
And I'm Rebecca Snow.
And we're the Becks.